welcome to ET Now Startup Central, India's first and only daily show dedicated to startups and entrepreneurship. I'm Chandra Srikanth, joining you live from India's startup capital, Bengaluru. And Krishna, today we are going to get our viewers all the action from ET Startup Awards. It really won't be an understatement to say that this indeed was the Oscars as far as Startup Inc. is concerned.
Absolutely, Chandra. This is Krishna Kumar coming to you live from ET Now's Mumbai studios. First up, we will, as Chandra spoke about, talk about the all-important Oscars of Startup Inc., where it's all about the who's who of startup world making their presence over there, from the unicorns of this country to the soon-to-be unicorns, the Soonicorns as well. Some very exciting startups which managed to bag the final awards. Chandra, that ceremony was quite an exciting one, wasn't it?
Absolutely, Krishna. And I guess, you should tell us about the big winners of the night, 8 prominent winners there.
Yes. The big winners, Chandra, will start with the startup and the most innovative startup of the year, which was indeed won by one of our favorite startups from Chennai, which was Freshdesk, which won the most innovative, the Startup of the Year award, so to speak. And of course, we got e-tailers, the biggest of biggest e-tailers, Sachin Bansal and Kunal, Bahl, and of course, Freshdesk picking up the Startup of the Year award. And of course, him even mentioning Kabali as part of his speech when he won, Mr. Girish Mathrubootham, who is the winner of this most Startup of the Year award. And of course, after the big boys of Startup Inc., we also get to Matrix Partners founder Avnish Bajaj, who won the Midas Touch Award. His track record in spotting future winners early, an exclusive chat on what Avinash said about winning the award per se and the bets that he will make going forward as well. And of course, and what does it take to make it to the top spot? We get you a snippet of that special discussion which had the likes of Amitabh Kant, and it had Ola's Bhavish Agarwal, it had Sachin Bansal, just about the who's who of everybody in India's startup ecosystem, including Kunal, Bahl, in an exciting conversation coming up for you here on the show. But before we move on to all those important interviews and that all-important panel discussion, let's get you the top story. Let's get you a quick recap of all those who made the cut, as Chandra was asking us, the Startup of the Year award. Freshdesk, Girish Mathrubootham, no doubts over there. 5 years Freshdesk has been in operation, and what a way to win this award. In fact, he was joking about how he was asked to come for the event a couple of years ago, and now he has finally managed to make it to the event and actually won an award, and the most important award. That's the Freshdesk. And apart from that, Midas Touch for Best Investor went to Avnish Bajaj of Matrix Venture Partners, as we've been telling you. And the Comeback Kid of the Year award went to Free Charge's Kunal Shah, who has had a crazy year. So he won the Comeback Kid of the Year award. And of course, the Social Enterprise Award went to AgroStar's Shardul Seth. So that was the Social Innovation of the Year award. And on your screens are Freshdesk, Girish Mathrubootham, Avinash Bajaj of Matrix Venture Partners winning Midas Touch for the Best Innovator. And of course, Comeback Kid Kunal Shah of Free Charge. And of course, AgroStar's Shardul Seth winning the Social Enterprise of the Year award. And as far as women are concerned, Women Ahead award was won by Portia Medical's Meena Ganesh, who gave a shout out to fellow women founders of startups in the country, including one of my personal favorites, Fresh Menu as well. So Meena Ganesh of Portia Medical winning the Women Ahead award. Top Innovator award going to Malik Sundaram of Mitra Biotech, winning the Top Innovator of the Year award. As far as the best startup from a campus, on campus, ideated in a campus, eventually becoming a startup, is Tarun Mehta of Aether Energy, winning the Best on Campus award at the ET Startup Awards. And of course, the Bootstrap Champ startup is Nitin Kamath of Zerodha, who won the Bootstrap Champ award. So those are the big winners on a ceremony that was just crackling, especially with Roads and Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari having a wonderful conversation and lightening up the entire session. You had everybody from Mohan Das Pai to the biggies of tech world and startup world asking questions, and Chandra and Rahul Dayama were there soaking in all the action, meeting the who's who of Startup Inc. and meeting more importantly, the enablers of India's startup ecosystem as well. Chandra, tell us more.
Right, Krishna. Krishna, I guess it was one working Saturday night that we had no regrets about because, as you said, we really got to meet the who's who of Startup Inc. and they really let their hair down. In fact, one of the most pertinent questions to Nitin Gadkari came from Sachin Bansal, who asked him to resolve the traffic problem of Bangalore. Gadkari told him that's not a department under him, but I guess that was a prominent complaint from most of the guests.
Chandra, I have to tell you this. All I could view in that entire award ceremony sitting here in the Mumbai studios was that there was so much talk about the roads in Bengaluru. All the startups, the techies, everybody's talking about please do something about the roads in Bengaluru. Are they that bad, Chandra?
Something about the roads or rather the lack of them, Krishna. I guess that was the prominent grievance coming from the unicorns, the soonicorns, just about everyone. And one important observation really came from Meena Ganesh during her acceptance. She said, this looks like women are doing very well, but it might be the opposite because you need a separate category to award a woman. And none of the other categories have women winners. So I guess that's a pertinent point there on how there really needs to be more women representatives as far as the startup world, entrepreneurship, just about any industry is concerned. I guess just the media industry is an exception.
Yeah.
But on that note, we'll get you started with some of the top voices we have on the show. Needless to say, all of them spoke exclusively to us. And we kick it off then with the two big poster boys of e-commerce, Flipkart co-founder and CEO Sachin Bansal and Snapdeal co-founder and CEO Kunal Bahl. I asked them about the launch of Jio, what it really means for these companies. Also, if we are running ahead of ourselves because the spending levels in India is still fairly low. So, considering the GDP per capita is low, is this really an exciting opportunity? I also asked Snapdeal's Kunal Bahl about the recent layoffs and other developments at Snapdeal. Let's listen into what Sachin and Kunal had to say.
A lot of our users use about a GB of data every month, and that's not because of just that their usage patterns are like that. They would like to use much more. With data prices coming down, the usage of the internet should go up. And not just that, I'm hoping also that the number of users will go up significantly as well. And that should be overall good for the overall ecosystem as well as us. I mean, we believe that faster internet there's a direct correlation between commerce and faster internet.
Right. But also the correlation between, GDP per capita and commerce. People are saying that we have a lot of online users, but not online consumers.
Yeah.
So what is the way out? Do you think it will take another decade before, some of these users actually become consumers? Or, are we looking at entire India in one bucket, which we shouldn't be doing?
No, I think, of course, we can't look at the entire India in one bucket. India is a very diverse and a number of, everybody has a different purchase power. But what we have seen is there is a direct correlation between the speed of bandwidth and the amount of consumption that starts driving. More and more bandwidth, more and faster internet, more reliable internet builds more trust and consumers then shift more and more transactions online. And not just that, they start increasing the number of transactions that they do. And there is a direct correlation, and we know that for every 100 million users that India will add, there is a significant impact of GDP.
Affordability is not a worry in that.
Affordability is not a worry for me. Affordability is not a worry. I think the smartphone prices will come down significantly, and of course data is coming down as well. I believe that affordability will soon become non-issue.
Right. We are entering the festive season. Do you expect it to be on the same scale as previous years, or have we reached some kind of saturation? Are we banking too much on just that phase to get the sales?
No, I think sales is increasing, and there will be more. This season will be bigger than ever. That's what we have had so far.
Right. Finally, Sachin, today you had Amitabh Kant, you had Gadkari. You raised some pertinent points on regulation, on Bangalore's traffic. What do you think can be the solution? What can the government really do there? Because e-commerce companies, I think last week also expressed some reservations against the way GST is happening. NASSCOM is also not too happy.
Yeah.
What can be done on that?
So, I think Mr. Gadkari said it well. I think the government is a complex machinery, and it takes different approaches and the constant effort to make things move. But once they start moving, the momentum also is pretty strong. It's hard to stop as well. So I believe that Mr. Kant, Mr. Gadkari, and a lot of other people who understand this space very well, they need to their efforts will start the momentum in the direction of opening up regulations, easing regulations for startups to do business, giving them market access. A lot of stuff that is getting stuck because of regulations will start moving once there is a momentum behind it. And there's already a positive momentum. I think earlier this year when Prime Minister inaugurated the Startup India movement, that was the start of it. And I was not hoping that suddenly everything will change, but it's a good start and momentum is building up now.
I think startups have to be resilient, and our internet and entrepreneurial ecosystem has to be resilient. Obviously there are market pressures, and not only in India but in China and the US as well, where nothing's really happening, no funding, no IPOs. But like every other cycle, this cycle shall also pass, and Indian entrepreneurs and Indian startups will emerge stronger.
Right. One big event that's happened this week is the launch of Jio. People say that, it's really going to have a ripple effect as far as connectivity is concerned. What is your own take about, the larger impact of Jio?
Yeah, I think it's very, very encouraging. The pricing obviously is very disruptive. And, I was actually checking out relative speeds of various telecom operators in Asia. And Jio is showing up in top 10 right now. And it shows that not only are they offering good pricing, but also great speeds as of right now. So I'm very, very optimistic. I think we needed a breakthrough event, a catalyst to break out from these 150 million internet users in India to the 300-400 million. I think we have it now.
Right. But the other side of the debate really, Kunal, people are saying that, what's the point of broadband when income levels are so low, GDP per capita in India is, nowhere close to China and the US. So are we, getting ahead of ourselves here in terms of the money that people will actually be able to spend online?
10 years ago, China's GDP was equal to India's per capita GDP right now. And in the last 10 years, China's per capita GDP grew 5x. Why can't it happen in India? 10 years ago, if you went to China and asked anyone there, do you foresee that Chinese per capita GDP will become 5x? Everyone would say you're crazy. Why don't we believe it can happen in India? So I'm pretty sure it'll happen in India. And the
will take time, a few years perhaps, for this to happen.
Yeah, but we are all around. We're not going anywhere.
Okay. And Kunal, in terms of, leadership lessons this year, you've had to take a lot of tough decisions with respect to employees, with respect to some of your businesses. What's really keeping you going these days? Do you tell yourself that, this is a necessary pain that we have to absorb? What are we going to see in the coming months?
Yeah, I think it's very, very important. It's very easy to spend money. And during euphoric periods, like we went through in 2014, 2015, a lot of decisions were made by a lot of companies. Not all of them were wasteful, not all of them were inefficient. Some of them were, though. And it's very important to recognize that early and take the right recourse. If you wait too long or fear what will people say, if you don't take the right decision, it'll be too late for the business.
It's better to decide even if it's painful.
Yeah, I think of it like a band-aid. You just got to pull it. If you take time to pull it, it's going to hurt more.
Right. Lot of excitement and speculation around Alibaba's eventual entry. We see various permutations, combinations happening every week. But what is your own sense? Is it going to be an Amazon versus Alibaba battle in India, or is India going to be different from other internet markets when it won't be a winner take?
I think it's very important for us to build national champions and companies that are, started, backed, and run by Indian entrepreneurs. What other large global businesses decide to do in India is obviously their prerogative.
And what will your own focus be in the coming months for Snapdeal?
I think we are really looking forward to the festive season. We have some big announcements lined up over the next 2 weeks in the lead up to the festive season, so I'm super excited about that.
So you heard out the big boys of e-commerce there, but it's now time to get you the winners of the ET Startup Awards. And while there are 8 winners in all that we just told you about, we get you 2 categories today: the Startup of the Year and the Midas Touch of the Year. Let's kick it off then with Freshdesk, Chennai-based Freshdesk co-founder and CEO Girish Mathrubootham, who backed the Startup of the Year award. Here he is in conversation with ET Now. Take a look.
I feel really proud as a B2B startup to have won this, because we all know that B2B doesn't command the same brand awareness as the B2C startup, but feels great. I think thanks to my awesome team at Freshdesk, who's probably watching this now. So
great. And what does this mean for the Chennai startup ecosystem? Because we often see the attention going to Bengaluru and Gurgaon, but you've also kept the Chennai flag flying high in a sense, isn't it?
So I think it's another proud moment for me personally, and I think it just shows that you can build a great company out of anywhere. So there's nothing wrong with Bangalore or Chennai or Delhi. I think great startups should and will come from all over India.
Right. What's the next moonshot for you? Now you've got Startup of the Year. You're in the Sunicorn list, so to speak. So are we going to see you evolving into a unicorn? And does this put a lot of pressure on you in a tough year?
No. See, I think I always believe in not worrying about the uncontrollable. So the unicorns are things that we don't worry about. So what I worry about is making sure our products are actually working well for our customers, and we are launching new products and making sure that we are growing as a company. So I think lots of plans lined up. Business is great, and touch wood, hopefully we will continue to grow, and unicorn will happen when the time is right.
Right. And fresh sales, I believe the response has been very good.
Yeah, so I think it's been tremendous. We have not even started the marketing, we've not turned on the marketing tab. I think we have crossed around 800 customers total, with a lot of them as paying customers because we have a free version also. So I think it's phenomenal where people are, it's resonating with the target audience.
After Startup of the Year, we move on to the other important category, the ET Startup Awards. We are, of course, talking with a man with a Midas touch, and the award winner in that category is Avnish Bajaj. We have featured him on Startup Central as well. He's, of course, the founder of Matrix Partners, and this award is given to an investor who's had success in spotting future winners early. Now, some of the winners in the Matrix basket includes the likes of Ola, Practo, Quikr, and Stayzilla. Let's listen into what Avnish has to say.
I have to say that it's a great feeling. I think most importantly what you guys have done at Times of India and Economic Times is, what I like about it is the celebration of risk-taking and entrepreneurship. That's what it means to me. That the country is, and the media is, and everybody is celebrating people who are taking risk and people who are backing the people who are taking risk.
And what will 2016-17 mean for Matrix Partners? I've asked you this question before, but in terms of the environment and how you're looking at it from Matrix.
I am very excited about it. I know there is a lot of, and we spoke about this before, money is to be made during dislocation. This is a cycle of dislocation. We would have liked to have done a lot more investing this year. It's just not happened somehow, but we are looking very aggressively. So this is the time to be the most active. We were the most active in our history in 2012 and 13, which has all paid off later. So I'm very bullish about it.
Right.
I would say there's one issue, which is that entrepreneurship has been affected. Like the IIT Bombay ecosystem has actually slowed down significantly. So to the extent the entrepreneurs are listening to this, my view is this is the time to start, and these cycles turn. And when it turns, it's too late to start.
Right. In terms of Jio's impact, what is that likely to be as far as internet consumption and demand?
Your guess is as good as mine, but I think I'm as excited as probably everybody else is. It's something we have been waiting for. The group has a track record of changing the dynamics. They did that in 2002. I remember I was running Bazi at the time with Monsoon Dhamaka. So I'm very optimistic that they will do the same, not just because of what Jio is doing, but the impact on how the entire industry has to respond as well, right? So more data in the hands of more consumers is great for the industry.
Right. Also, Avnish, the downside is people say that yes, there is internet availability, but GDP per capita in India can't really match up to that, and the amount of people spending is actually very low. So are we getting us ahead of ourselves here in terms of?
We did, and those are the core issues. Data usage will be about the same for as China, but the monetization of the data will be lower, and that is because of exactly the reason you said. I mean, we have to factor in that there is a GDP difference. That said, India is at about a $1,500 per month per year per capita. That is called a middle income. We are starting in the middle income. China today, I don't know the math, but it could be closer to $7,000–8,000. We are going to go from 1,500 to 6,000. So one has to, while being cognizant of the concern you raised, also not be too rearview mirror in the thinking. This is going to change. But yes, the core takeaway from that is don't spend ahead of your revenue.
Some of the big winners from India's Oscars of Startup Inc. ET Startup Awards you just heard out, and to get a better understanding of what exactly does it take to make it to that top spot, here is a snippet of our special panel discussion from ET Startup Awards with the who's who of India Startup Inc. as well as the enablers of India Startup Inc. Take a look.
One of the things we are trying to do is to create tinkering labs in schools. 500 of them this year itself, create many more incubation centers across our universities. So that's critical to my mind, because you need to have that innovative spirit and risk-taking right at a very young age. Secondly, I think you need much more funds to flow in. And therefore, the government started the Fund of Funds, which is actually privately managed today, through SIDBI, so that we can have many more venture funds who can be supported. The risk-taking is much more. And thirdly, I think we must ensure that failure is not a stigma in India. And therefore, because innovation, risk-taking, all this necessitates some amount of failures. And Indian parents have still not started accepting failure. India is still very, very complex, very complicated. And I think my motivation is that we in India need to scrap a lot of paperwork, procedures, rules, regulation acts, just scrap them wholesale. Make India the easiest and simplest place to do business in, so that young entrepreneurs like all these rock stars can flourish and grow.
When you're a small company and say you'll be $1 billion company in 5 years, it forces you to reimagine everything, every aspect of your business, and that makes you take the right decisions today. So I think thinking big a few years down the road and then working backwards from that, everything falls into place. It's a mind game that you play, which I think everyone will require. And I think that's what all these young guys are going to do. I just want to make one point, which is that I think the biggest opportunity today is that Indian consumers and businesses will be data rich before they're economically rich, healthy, educated, or have well-paying jobs. Okay. And that creates an arbitrage. You're going to be data rich on the consumer side because of phones, digital payments, all that stuff. You're going to be data rich on the business side because of GST, bill payment systems, UPI. And in fact, Mr. Gadkari has been at the leadership. One of the big things that he's doing is the electronic toll system, which will mean that every time a truck passes a toll gate is an electronic payment. Now this is huge. The billions of payments will become electronic thanks to his efforts. So I think when you become data rich before you become economically rich and otherwise, you have an arbitrage, and those guys who use that arbitrage to create value are going to create $1 trillion of value. So I think the biggest game is how do we leverage the data rich.
The key issue that I'd weigh and see is what is cheaper, what is more effective, to build or to buy, and then take a decision in balance. We've done about 9 acquisitions in the last 5 years, and we figured that every time we do this, there's some new learning all the time.
Could you build a company that was a learning organism from day one? And today we're not only a messaging company, we have a news application on the platform, we have games, we have coupons, we have scores. So really, I think at the end of the day, if you have to build a culture of solving problems and learning. Can you experiment, try? If it doesn't work, there's a system in place, as Ajit mentioned, to weed the ideas that don't work out so that you don't spend 6 months to a year investing in areas that may not work. So companies as a learning organism is sort of how we build the culture at Hike.
All the action there from ET Startup Awards, but it doesn't end there. Through this week, we will be getting you important snippets, conversations with all the leaders, all the award winners. Krishna, I think 2 fun moments there, was when Girish Mathrubootham said Magarchi on stage when he got the award, and another when someone asked Kavan Mittal what they thought of Jio, and if that's the dinner table conversation at home.
Chandra, also, I just remembered even the MC for the event sort of said something in Tamil to Girish Mathrubootham as he took the stage to win that award. So it was exciting to see that we just had him as a guest for our Kabali coverage just a month or 2 ago, and now we have him as a winner of the Startup of the Year award at ET Startup Awards. Absolutely fabulous scenes as far as the Oscars of Startup Inc. is concerned. And with that, we have completely run out of time here, Chandra. So we will continue more of ET Startup Awards through the rest of the week. But for now, it's a wrap here in this edition of ET Startup Central. But don't go anywhere. Keep it with ET Now.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.